What is up, everybody? Uncle JJ back with some Project Cars gameplay. So, first off, this was supposed to be a live comm, and because the game's sound is so OP, it totally washed me out. So I probably gotta mess with some input settings and all that kind of stuff too. I don't know, but so now I'm talking to you over a replay. But the second thing I wanted to talk about is what you're seeing right now, and that is career mode. This is Formula R UK Challenge. I started out using the go-karts and decided that I couldn't have any more of it. It was just frustrating, and I think it's probably one of the worst parts of this game. It it wasn't. Like unlike the NASCAR, it wasn't challenging. I mean, it was challenging, but to the point where it was frustrating, not rewarding. And with the NASCAR, it got to the point where I started making breakthroughs. I figured out how to keep the car on the road, all that kind of stuff. So and then I won a race, so it was rewarding. Whereas with the go-karts, there's just something wrong with the mechanics in the game. It seems to be there's some kind of like an input lag built in or a dead zone built in to the control scheme of that vehicle. And what I mean by that is it's very similar to when you're driving a Jeep in Battlefield, and you press a stick left or right, and you expect the Jeep to turn left or right immediately. Well, it doesn't do that. Instead, there is literally like a half a second delay between when when you press the stick to when the thing will actually turn. And in the go-karts, that made it almost, I wouldn't say impossible, but it took the fun out of it, and it added more frustration than challenge, because now rather than trying to figure out how the car handles, you're trying to figure out how the game plays it. And you're having to time your turns based off of that delay rather than the speed that you're going into the corner, your grip, and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't fun, so I basically said, screw it, I'm done with you. I'm going to move on to actual racing. So here we are, doing Formula R in the UK, and having a blast. It's fun. It didn't take long for me to figure out how the car handles. It can get loose in the back during certain situations, nothing like the NASCAR. But like right there, it gets a little loose as I'm over braking. But it's challenging enough to be rewarding. But as you'll see coming up into the next race in this video, I get to the point where I'm just too good, and I have to bump up the AI difficulty, which I'll have in the next career mode video, which you advance into the Formula R Euro Trophy Series. But so here I basically P1'd the entire field through this entire weekend. And so in career mode, you go in and you can set your warm-up laps, the time limit, all that kind of stuff, and then you go into qualifying, and then once you qualify and they place you in your starting position, you do 2 races, and I'm guessing, I don't know how they do it. I mean, it's a European, I mean, this is Formula, so I have no idea how they do it. But, like in go-karting, it's, you work your way into a bracket, basically. So, you do your first race. Your first race is like a heat race where you're racing against other people, and then they set you up and they put you into the next race, which is your trophy race. Yeah, so I swept this field the entire, from front to back. I had the fastest warm-up laps. I obviously had the fastest qualifying time. My first race, I went green to checkered, and in this race, I go green to checkered. So, and that's with all kinds of little mishaps and quirks along the way. Like you saw me get loose in that corner on the back straight, and I actually spun out on the third to last corner in my first race, and was able to regain composure. Had such a huge lead on the field that I was able to get back into first place and win the race. So, with that said, yeah, I've since bumped up the AI difficulty going into my next stage in the career mode. Um, I didn't bump it up too far. I only went to 60. I just, progressively, as I get better, I'll get the game better. But um, so far, so good. It's fun, and I'll get some video of my next stage put up on here. I've also got some crashes that I'll put into a montage or something of that nature. But anyway, I think I'll end this with just some in-game audio as I win this race. See ya. The sun in my eyes. And looks like we got ourselves. Nice. Get it.
Great job. You were the best out there today. First class.